All right, so we did mass percent. Next up is percent volume, sometimes volume / volume percentage, or sometimes it's called volume percentage. It's not as common. Mass is used more often than volume, but it's still a thing. So the volume percentage is going to be equal to our volume of the solute over the volume of the solution. And of course, times 100% because it's a percentage. So rubbing alcohol isopropanol is 70% volume by volume in water, right? So when you buy rubbing alcohol, it says, the percentage. That percentage is by volume, and that's how much isopropanol is dissolved in water. If the density of pure isopropanol is 0.789 grams per milliliter, how many grams of isopropanol, I'm going to abbreviate this as IPA, in 585 ml of the solution. So again, be really careful about what you're talking about here, whether you're talking about the solution or you're talking about the pure compound. So we're going to start with the thing that's not a conversion unit. That's our 585 milliliters. Again, you don't have to start there. You can start anywhere that you want, but it's a lot easier if you start there. And we're going to include that this is what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is the solution. And so now I've got ml right here. And so I'm thinking, oh, I've got ml right here. Maybe I should use this number. But I actually should not use this number because this number refers to that of pure isopropanol, whereas I'm talking about my solution. So just be really careful that you know what the subject of your units are. Sometimes you can make a mistake and it'll not actually affect your final answer, but sometimes it will. So you do want to make sure that you're working correctly. So since we're talking about the solution, we want to have data that talks about the solution, and this percent volume is talking about the solution. And so we can use that. Since it's volume by volume, that means that for every 70 milliliters of our IPA, we have 100 ml of our solution. And now these units will cancel out because they're the same, right? The unit is the same, the milliliters, and the subject is the same solution. And now we're talking about our milliliters of isopropanol, and that's when we can now use the density, right? This is grams per milliliter of the pure isopropanol, which is now what we're talking about. So we'll put 0.789 grams up here per 1 milliliter down here. Milliliter and milliliter go ahead, cancel out. And then we get the correct answer of 320 grams. Note, only 2 sig figs because that 70 only has 2 sig figs. I did underline the 0, so that 0 does count as a sig fig. So again, just be careful about what these numbers are talking about.